All right. Welcome back. Okay, so, I don't know where you're at, but we're in Central Texas, and it's hotter than 10 hells, let me tell you something. And it's way too hot to be cooking, but it's family reunion season, it's barbecue season, it's party outdoors season, it's, parties at the park season, and everybody brings the same thing. You go to a potluck where they say, well, what do you want me to bring? Oh, whatever you want to. Well, nobody wants to cook, so we end up with 10 potato salads, 10 banana puddings, 10 macaroni salads, pea salad. Everybody brings the same thing because nobody wants to cook because it's too darn hot. So, how about blowing their minds with a no-bake berry tart with a hazelnut custard filling? Well, I know you're thinking that this sounds hard and crazy. Well, it can be. Or you can do it the common sense way. That's why we're here, to do common sense cooking. So, first thing you gotta do is get you some cheapo vanilla cream cookies. You can buy fancy Oreos if you want to, but who cares? It's gonna be ground up and it's gonna be the crust. No one's gonna be able to tell it's an Oreo or a cheapo. It's just not gonna happen. Alright, so you're gonna throw some in your food processor. Now, before you start hollering, I don't have a food processor. You don't need one. Every house has a hammer. If you don't own your own hammer, your husband's got one, so go find it. Get a hammer, get a Ziploc bag, gallon bag, put your cookies in the bag, seal it up, leave a little bitty gap in the seal, and just start hammering away. Let the kids do it. Just start banging away. It's a lot of fun, and it does the same thing. It takes longer, but it does the same thing. Now, I've used about half of the cookies, and so to that, I'm going to add just a little sugar. Not much. Not even a quarter of a cup. Just a couple tablespoons of sugar. Alright? And we're going to get that rolling. Now, it's going to be loud in a minute, so just hang with me, okay? Come on. I hate this one. My monster-in-law gave me this one, and I'm not crazy about it, but what am I going to do? I like my other one better. It's bigger, too. Nothing bigger. There we go. Hang on. Very long. But see, now look what we got. A real fine vanilla cookie crust. Okay? Now, I know you probably have a fancy tart pan. I do. I have pans. I have springform pans, tart pans, cake pans. You name it, I got it. But when you go to a barbecue, don't you hate it when you don't get your bowl back on time? Oh, just leave it. I'll pick it up later. And then you never get your bowl back because they're going to keep your bowl and you get somebody else's bowl that's all yucky and junky. I like to do disposable stuff. I don't care if it comes home or not. So, here's what I got. I'm using one of these. These are the to-go plates that I use for my dinners that I deliver. But, dollar store, you get 3 pans for $1. I'm going to use this one. You can even use a pie plate if you wanted to. But, go disposable. That way you don't have to get it back. Now, in here, I've melted about 1/3 of a stick of butter. Do not ever use margarine. You're going to always use real butter. Just remember that margarine, oleo, it used to be called oleo back in the day. Now it's called margarine. That would be your country crock that everybody likes, or your imperial, or any of the other brands that don't say butter. B-U-T-T-E-R. Butter on it. Butter tastes better than that anyway, number one. And number two, margarine is 1 molecule away from plastic. Don't believe me? Google it. 1 molecule difference between this and what you're putting in your body. Would you eat this for dinner? I don't think so. I hope not anyway. Alright, so I'm just going to pour my cookie crumbs into the pan. Now, I did a lot of cookie crumbs because I kind of want it to go up the sides a little bit. You know, not just on the bottom. All right. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to make the crust first, and then we're going to make the filling. This is super easy. All right. Get out of the way. So, we've got a little sugar, cookie crumbs. Now, I'm going to take that melted butter, pour in there. And if you notice, we're not even dirtying up a pan, are we? I didn't think so. Because it's also too hot to run the dishwasher. Or wash them by hand. And quite honestly, if you wash them by hand if you get the chance. They're going to be cleaner. The air drying sanitizes them. And unless you've got a full load, I wouldn't ever run. I don't run my dishwasher right here. I only run this when I'm either after a catering event, when doing something like that, or a family holiday. Otherwise, it's usually just me and my husband. So why do I have to wash? And it takes me no time at all to wash them by hand, and I can sanitize them better. All right. So now I got the butter all melted into the cookie crumbs. I'm gonna take my measuring cup and start mashing them in, up the sides, and mash it into the bottom. Up the sides. Mash it into the bottom. That's okay if it sticks to the bottom of the cup because you just wipe it off. It's okay. Now you can use your hands to do this, but work smarter, not harder. Common sense. You work smarter, not harder. Does it have to stick exactly on the side? No, that's okay. It doesn't have to be pretty. No one's going to see it. It's going to be covered up. Doesn't matter what it looks like. You just want it to taste good. That's all that matters. Get it to taste good. Okay, that's good enough. Oh well. A little extra sugar in there. Doesn't matter. I wanted that for later, but that's okay. You don't have to do that. I just dropped the cup, so it won't hurt anything. I just dropped the cup. Okay, so now this is going to go in the freezer while we do the rest of it to set up real quick. Just going to get that set up real quick. Alright, so now we're going to make the filling. And this is super easy too. Vanilla instant pudding. Don't even have to cook it. I told you it was a no bake, no cook pie. This is just the small package because I'm just making one tart. If you want to make a big, like a 13 by 9, like a full cake pan full, you're going to want 2 of these, or the big one. Okay, so then you're going to follow the directions on the back for pie. They have the pudding recipes, shaker recipes for pie. And basically what you're doing is just reducing it by a quarter cup. I'm going to reduce it by half. So here's my cup. Now, what do you put in your pudding mix? Oh, that's right, you put milk in there, don't you? And you have smooth, creamy vanilla pudding. Well, that's great, but we don't want that. We want hazelnut. So, real dairy creamer. Hazelnut, this is the hazelnut. You can use any flavor you want to, and you can do this with so many different things. I'm going to put a cup and a half in here. Well, hang on, I got to get it all, like safety for my protection, but it's actually just safety for my pain in the butt to try to get into something. You starve to death before you get into it. Okay. Shake it up real good. It's got to be real shaken. Really, really good. Okay, so I'm going to put about a cup to a cup and a half. I want it real thick. Alright, so there's a cup. We're going to do a half. About a half. Okay, not even an exact. Alright, so there's our hazelnut cream. Sorry about that. We're going to whisk that up. Don't use a mixer when you're doing pudding. Instant pudding, you don't need a mixer, you just need a whisk. You just want it to come together real good. Give it a good whisk. It's not so much about incorporating oil, or air, not oil, excuse me, air. That's normally why you whisk stuff. A beater will actually give you too much air, and it won't be a good thick pudding consistency. Okay. So now we're going to put this in the fridge till it sets, and then we're going to come back and assemble the pie. Okay, so now our crust is set. It only takes about 10 minutes. Basically, all you're doing is setting the butter. You could do it in the refrigerator overnight, but why wait? Just do it in the freezer. Okay, so anyway, there's our crust. It's all set up. This is our pudding. Again, very set up, very creamy. And we're just going to pour that whole thing into our pan. Pour it onto our crust. And actually, I'll be honest with you, this is better if you make it the night before and let it set overnight. You don't have to, but I think it tastes better. So we're going to spread this out so that it covers the whole base. Up the sides a little bit, isn't that pretty? Ooh. Okay, so this is summer, so that means you're at the height of berry season. So if you picked your own berries, anything like that, putting on my hands. Okay, so if you picked your own berries, you have your own berries at home, whatever, you go to the farmer's market, you go to the grocery store, you buy a bunch of fresh berries, and you don't know what to do with them, this is how you do it. But, again, you gotta go out and pick them, and it's hot, and you gotta watch for snakes, because snakes love berries, and then, you know, you gotta wash them and seed them, and all that kind of fun stuff. Or, you can just buy a bag of plain mixed berries at the grocery store, in the freezer section. Perfectly okay. These are no sugar added. They haven't been processed. They've just been flash frozen. Just like if you went home, picked them yourself, and frozen, blah, 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 blah. I hope y'all are watching this because this is real scientific and real difficult to do. Okay? Let's put them out there like that. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? Our leftover sugar, we're just going to sprinkle in over the top a little bit. And we're done. That's it. That is it. Put this in the refrigerator. Cover it with Saran wrap. Put it in the refrigerator. You're good to go. And like I said, I think it's better if you make it the night before so that all the juices from the fruit come out. The sugar that we just sprinkled on there will macerate. It's called macerating. And sugar pulls all the natural juices out of fruit. So if you let them macerate overnight, you know, then you're going to get all this ooey gooey liquid, the juices, and then you pour that in, and what it does is it seeps through the filling into the crust. And so every bite, it's just really good. So this is going to be covered up, put in the fridge, and I'm probably going to take it to work next couple of days. It'll sit in the refrigerator for a few days. As long as you keep it covered, it'll be okay for about 3 days. So if you need to make it ahead of time because you're busy, make it on a Wednesday, and your party or your reunion or even your church potluck on Sunday, you got it in there. It's good to go. Can you refreeze it like this? Make it and freeze it? Sure you can. Won't hurt it, but it needs to thaw out for at least 24 hours before you slice it. So anyway, there we have it. A quick summer no-bake berry tart. Cheap, easy, and fast. Common sense cooking. If you like what you saw, hit like and subscribe below. You can find the full recipe on Down Home with Lynn on Facebook. And I'll be back in a few days with something to do with peppers, because boy, do we have peppers this time of year. Y'all have a good one. Stay cool.